Now from Windsor Castle, a special broadcast by Her Majesty the Queen to the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth in relation to the coronavirus outbreak.
I'm speaking to you at what I know is an increasingly challenging time. A time of disruption in the life of our country. A disruption that has brought grief to some, financial difficulties to many, and enormous changes to the daily lives of us all. I want to thank everyone on the NHS frontline, as well as care workers and those carrying out essential roles, who selflessly continue their day-to-day duties outside the home in support of us all. I'm sure the nation will join me in assuring you that what you do is appreciated and every hour of your hard work brings us closer to a return to more normal times. I also want to thank those of you who are staying at home, thereby helping to protect the vulnerable and sparing many families the pain already felt by those who have lost loved ones. Together we are tackling this disease, and I want to reassure you that if we remain united and resolute, then we will overcome it. I hope in the years to come, everyone will be able to take pride in how they responded to this challenge. And those who come after us will say the Britons of this generation were as strong as any, that the attributes of self-discipline, of quiet, good-humoured resolve, and of fellow feeling still characterize this country. The pride in who we are is not a part of our past. It defines our present and our future. The moments when the United Kingdom has come together to applaud its care and essential workers will be remembered as an expression of our national spirit, and its symbol will be the rainbows drawn by children. Across the Commonwealth and around the world, we have seen heartwarming stories of people coming together to help others, be it through delivering food parcels and medicines, checking on neighbours, or converting businesses to help the relief effort. And though self-isolating may at times be hard, many people of all faiths and of none are discovering that it presents an opportunity to slow down, pause and reflect in prayer or meditation. It reminds me of the very first broadcast I made in 1940, helped by my sister. We as children spoke from here at Windsor to children who had been evacuated from their homes and sent away for their own safety. Today, once again, many will feel a painful sense of separation from their loved ones. But now as then, we know deep down that it is the right thing to do. While we have faced challenges before, this one is different. This time we join with all nations across the globe in a common endeavour, using the great advances of science and our instinctive compassion to heal. We will succeed, and that success will belong to every one of us. We should take comfort that while we may have more still to endure, better days will return. We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again. But for now, I send my thanks and warmest good wishes to you all.
You're watching BBC News. Welcome to viewers here in the UK and around the world as we bring you reaction to Her Majesty the Queen's special broadcast to the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth in relation to the coronavirus outbreak. Our royal correspondent Nicholas Whitshire joins me now. We will meet again, Her Majesty said at the end of the speech.
Yes, one must suppose that she cannot have imagined that she would ever have to make a broadcast such as this at a time of real national crisis and emergency, not just in this country, but as you were saying, in the Commonwealth and in the wider world. To broadcast at a moment of real national difficulty. Her purpose, as we were saying, was to reassure this country and the watching audiences, and to rally the spirit, the cohesion of this nation, to say that we must remain united and resolute, that better days will return. So there we see these twin themes of reassurance and harnessing the resolution, the sense of resolve of the nation. Those were words which she used several times. She talked of the national spirit, of heartwarming stories from Britain and around the Commonwealth. And of course she did. She recalled that broadcast that she made from Windsor also when she was a 14-year-old in 1940 at the time of the Blitz, when London and other British cities were being bombed, when she spoke about the separation of children across Britain from their families and drew the parallel between that and the painful sense of separation, as she described it, which is occurring at the moment in very different circumstances. But as she said, that now as then, we know deep down that it is the right thing to do. So urging people across this country and in wider lands as well, to abide by the restrictions, to abide by the lockdown, which we know is very frustrating. But she is urging people to follow the advice of this government and others.
That's an interesting point. So it wasn't just personal reminiscences of a long reign and a difficult time. There was actually an instruction from the head of state to a people here.
Yes, and it is a head of state who's been in the background of our lives in this country, in most cases for all of our lives, who we know lived through the war, who, as we were saying just before the broadcast, joined the British services, served in the Auxiliary Territorial Service. So this is somebody who commands enormous respect and enormous authority, who has the ability, far more so than any politician, to offer a message such as that, which can reassure, because I think people find her a very reassuring figure in a world of such change and uncertainty, when people feel frightened, as they do at the moment, facing this peril, this unexpected situation in which we all find ourselves. So I think many people will have tuned in this country and elsewhere in the world tonight to listen carefully to the Queen and to be reassured. One must hope that people will have been reassured by the words that she offered, particularly there in the end of the broadcast. We should take comfort that while we may have more still to endure, better days will return. We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again.
Those are very powerful words. One can imagine the country stopped to hear that, but not just the country, other countries around the world where she is head of state, and other countries around the world who have an interest in what the Queen may have to say.
Yes, and it is that central message, evoking echoes of wartime, that, you know, we, this generation, will be judged by how we respond to this situation, where she talks about in the years to come. I hope everyone will be able to take pride in how they responded to this challenge, and those who come after us will say that the Britons of this generation were as strong as any. It's not quite a sort of Churchillian, this was their finest hour, because the situation is far too serious for any sort of comparison such as that. But central to the success of the situation in which we find ourselves, she identified the qualities which will define us, those qualities, as she described them, of self-discipline, quiet resolve, and fellow feeling.
Nicholas Witchell, our royal correspondent, thank you very much. Well, let's discuss the Queen's message in more detail. I'm joined by the former Buckingham Palace Press Secretary, Dickie